Ashton Kutcher has found himself once again in the spotlight, not for a new blockbuster role or a tech investment triumph, but for something far more mundane and surprisingly enduring: speculation about whether he actually showers regularly. This peculiar saga traces back several years to an offhand comment made during a candid podcast appearance alongside his wife, Mila Kunis. On that episode of Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert, Ashton casually described his daily grooming routine in a way that struck many listeners as minimalist. He explained that he made a point to clean his armpits and his crotch area each day, but emphasized that this was essentially the extent of his washing habits beyond those specific zones. Mila Kunis, chiming in during the same conversation, added her own revelation, admitting that she hadn't showered very frequently during her childhood and that the habit, or lack thereof, had carried over in some form into her adult life. These remarks, delivered in a light-hearted and unfiltered moment, were never intended to become defining statements about their personal cleanliness. Yet, in the viral nature of modern media, they exploded into widespread discussion, memes, and ongoing public curiosity that has lingered far longer than anyone might have anticipated. Fast forward to the present, and Ashton is actively promoting his latest television project, a series titled The Beauty. In this show, he steps into the role of a wealthy billionaire who becomes deeply entangled in the promotion of a risky, cutting-edge beauty drug that promises transformative results but carries dangerous side effects. To convincingly portray this high-powered, physically imposing character, Ashton underwent an intense physical transformation. He got himself into peak condition, something that required disciplined training and a complete overhaul of his daily regimen after years spent primarily in an office environment focused on venture capital investments rather than on-set demands. The physical demands of the role meant long hours in the gym, strict nutrition, and naturally, a renewed emphasis on personal care to match the character's polished, larger-than-life persona. During recent interviews tied to the promotion of The Beauty, Ashton found himself fielding questions about those old comments once more. He expressed genuine astonishment at how a single podcast snippet had snowballed into persistent assumptions that he, and by extension Mila, somehow avoided basic hygiene. Speaking to a major outlet, he described the entire episode as one of the strangest experiences of his public life. He recounted how a seemingly innocuous remark had led people to wonder aloud whether he carried an odor or neglected fundamental cleanliness. To drive the point home in a light-hearted way during a group conversation with his co-stars Anthony Ramos and Jeremy Pope, Ashton recounted the story directly to them. He explained that a long-ago podcast comment had somehow morphed into a widespread belief that they don't shower. With a mix of amusement and exasperation, he clarified his actual routine. He does shower, particularly after workouts at the gym, and maintains a normal level of personal hygiene that aligns with anyone leading an active lifestyle. His co-star Anthony Ramos jumped in supportively, offering a direct confirmation that cut through any lingering doubt. Ramos declared unequivocally that he could vouch for Ashton's cleanliness, having spent enough time around him on set to observe the reality firsthand. This moment of camaraderie underscored how absurd the speculation had become, friends and colleagues stepping in to affirm something as basic as daily showering. Ashton didn't stop at mere clarification. He leaned into humor to further dispel the myths. He joked about the dramatic shift required to prepare for The Beauty, noting that prior to the role, his days had been dominated by sitting in an office chair, making decisions in the venture capital world rather than maintaining a Hollywood physique. The sudden need to get speedo-ready for certain scenes prompted him to hire a dedicated trainer named Robbie Egan. Robbie's sessions began at the crack of dawn, 5 o'clock in the morning, arriving at Ashton's home to deliver grueling workouts before the actor's regular workday even started. These early morning beatdowns were transformative, pushing Ashton to rebuild his body in ways that demanded consistency in every aspect of his routine, including, implicitly, the kind of hygiene that comes with heavy sweating and physical exertion.